What up, y'all? What up? What up? What up? Um, right now, I'm actually reading a book right now, and it's about ancient Egypt. It's myths and mysteries, occult, Egypt occult stories. Well, Egypt occult, Egypt occult lecture from Rudolf Steiner. Listen, when I tell you this shit is fucking mind blowing, and it's like certain things I kind of knew, but now it kind of breaks everything down. So I'm gonna get into the meat and potatoes of this, but this one is super fly. So y'all know that song from Saturn from Stevie Wonder. Everything, is on Saturn. People live to be 205. So this is actually so cool to know. So I'm like a note taker. I'm like obsessed. So it's like notes here, notes there. And what I've got from that was, it was like three parts of, it was three parts. So it was the Earth, it was Saturn, and it was the Moon. And they were all morphed in together as one. So it was certain levels, like the crust, the core, the mantle, like that. And the inner part was it was more so of Saturn, and Saturn is a point, or is a part where we lived before we got to that Saturn was the core before we got to the mantle, before we got to the crust, which is considered Earth. And Earth is when we became a earthly being. So what was pretty cool to hear about is at Saturn, the time that our ethereal bodies, I want to make sure that's a part of it. Make sure. Yeah, so it was four parts: your ethereal, your physical, your ego, and your it'll come to me. Physical, ethereal, yes, astral bodies. So our astral bodies were a part of Saturn. And the cool thing about it was before we formed as humans, our skin, our body was very pliable. So we were half fish and we were half vapor. But the cool thing about it is, guess what? We didn't have any eyes. We didn't have that motion of eyes because we couldn't see anything. And plus, at that moment, at that time, it was nothing but vapor. And there was no such thing as air. Air didn't come about until further on down the line, when the whole Osiris, the whole Set thing came, and that's when we started to get air. So the vapor started to get thinner and thinner and thinner. And the sun, once it detached itself from Earth, that's when we start getting sunlight, and that's when it started to become, as we know, planet Earth. Anyways, so Saturn, around that time, Saturn, which is around the Atlantean time, hence when it was all nothing but water, we didn't have any eyes. So everything that we did is also clairvoyancy, and that's where we come with the word of clairvoyance. When we didn't have anything to see, but we have imagination, hence the word imagination. And that's what we need to get to, a point where our imagination is very strong, because when it comes with strong imagination comes the strengthening of your clairvoyancy. So you see where I'm going with this one, right? What are the odds that Stevie Wonder would make a song about Saturn and he's blind? And I'm pretty sure he wrote it. I'm almost 100% sure that Stevie Wonder has written that song, Saturn. I know, right? So I'm just blown away. And the cool thing about it was the astral bodies came from Saturn. None of us, and I say us because we're still astral body. We're still ethereal body. We still have a high physical body, and we also have an ego, and that's what creates our human body. So with all of these, which is really cool, is if you think about it, with us not having eyes, we have to connect with other tones, and the other tones is more so telepathy. So when we didn't have that memory base that we have in our brains now, like we can read stuff and then we can process it. Back then, when our bodies wasn't fully formed, we didn't have that forebrain. We didn't have the part of knowledge. We only had more so of what's going to happen right then and now, which is pretty cool. Hence, us being clairvoyant. So the whole purpose is not to cloud your mind with like subjects or anything. It's like more so to internalize it and to make your organs, which is really cool, is that you can read subjects, you can become that subject, and that's a part of your physical body, but you could also keep certain thoughts or certain motions or certain things in your organs, which is really, really fucking cool. So you think about, you get these things called like deja vu. Deja vu hides in your organs. So right now I'm still reading a little bit more. I'm almost done with the book, but yeah, it's really, really cool. And it talks about it breaks down all the other words like va, and with va is the root word of vox, which is the astral being of love. So when comma is desire, when comma is the desire, like the nature of loving, the will to love, is reunited with va, which is the root word of vox, which is the astral love. That's how we create our ego. I know, it's mind blowing. Well, I'm out. Peace.